The following is a presentation on the UFSN network. Welcome to the UFAFL Nation.
Yes, greetings and salutations, and welcome in to the first ever playoff edition of UFAFL Nation. I am your host, Michael Skrz, and boy, do we have a big show lined up for you today. We were thinking that with the playoffs here, we might as well start some rivalries, and we have Cass Hudson returning to the show, GM of the Empire, and they're taking on Curtis Johnson and the CanWest Gladiators, the assistant GM. So he's going to join us, the both of them at the same time, just a little bit later, previewing their upcoming matchup. We know the Empire, they were pretty good this year, and they're definitely going to be the favorites going into the matchup, but you never know in football. So we can't wait to talk to both of these guys about their upcoming matchup this weekend. And then we're going to do the regular stuff that we always do. We got the NFL preview, looking forward to a couple games this weekend. UFAFL preview as well, talking about some of the other matchups going on, stock up, stock down, and even maybe a little best bet segment at the end. You can follow me guys on Twitter at Michael SKRZ. You can follow the league at the UFAFL. And don't forget Jamie Thomas over in the scouting department as well, the UFAFL_scouting. If you have any questions for the league, don't hesitate to email us at info@uffsports.com. And the site is down there at the bottom of the screen for any other information that you're curious on. You guys can see I'm rocking the UFAFL black hoodie today. And this and other fantastic items are available at the UFAFL store. It's cold out now, so maybe you guys want to get like a mug or something, a nice tumbler to hold some hot tea, some coffee. It was like minus 25 just a couple of days ago here in Toronto. It's only about 0 right now, so not too bad. But boys, Valentine's Day right around the corner, so maybe there's something for the store for your significant other. So don't hesitate to check out the store and help out the boys over at UFAFL. So with that, why don't we get to the interview? And the boys are here. They look ready for this weekend. It's Cass Hudson, Empire General Manager, and Curtis Johnson, Assistant GM of the CanWest Gladiators. How you boys doing today? Cass, welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And Curtis, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. It's another cold day in Alberta here.
Oh boy, yeah. I think Toronto's cold. I can only imagine when you're dealing with over in Alberta right now. I've seen the weather reports. It's not great over there. What's it like today?
It's cold and windy. I'm in Lloydminster, so it's not just you don't just get the snow; you get that horrible wind chill as well.
Oh, that's definitely the worst. Gets into all the crevices, and I can't do wind. So boys, exciting times right now. We just finished the player draft for the playoff pool. So I wanted to talk about the rosters because this was an interesting thing to see because I was kind of wondering the direction of teams and how they would go. So, Cass, we'll start off with you. Your first round pick in the player pool draft was Cooper Kupp, and then you had Damian Harris. You had Aaron Donald in the third, and Max Crosby. Any reason why you would take Cooper Kupp? Obviously I know why. He's a great player. But were you trying to fill out your skill positions first? What was the thought process there?
Well, the thought process was that we could wait on a quarterback because we were guaranteed a starter. And then it was about, because CanWest already had Renfrew and Waller in their lineup because they carried them over, we were already behind there. So we needed to get some skill positions in order to keep up with them. We only came into this with 9 players. We're 6 less than the next team. So we were way behind to start. So, we went Kupp because he was the best player, obviously. And then we thought, too, that we would get another pretty good skill position player. We were hoping that more quarterbacks would go also in the first round. And I wasn't expecting I was hoping CanWest would not get Burrow. That was my biggest fear, that they would get Burrow. I didn't want that because now they're all in on that game. That's a huge game. If that game goes over 50 points, they're going to be looking pretty good.
Yeah, so Curtis, Joe Burrow with your first pick, and then you go Dawson Knox, Chase Edmonds, Mecole Hardman. So a lot of offense there early on in the playoff pool draft. Thoughts, and how did you guys approach this draft before it even started?
Well, first it was Chad, who our general manager, my brother. He was the one who was doing the drafting yesterday. He couldn't make it today to be on this, the little podcast here. But he's kind of the brains of this operation. I talked to him a little bit, before this interview, and he was surprised as well that Burrow dropped that far. Right, we definitely didn't think. We kind of had the same plan. We were going to be guaranteed a quarterback, so let's just take him a little bit later in the draft. But when you seen him drop that far, and you see what he did the past couple weeks in the regular season, you're like, this guy's, he's got a little step in his game right now, and hopefully he can carry that on here in the first round and put up some big points for us. Right, we're going against a good team. Empire's the top seed. Going into this wild card weekend, we're the bottom seed. So getting him at 12 first round is definitely, we're excited. We took some risk. We got Edmonds and Trey Sermon. They're just, coming off injury. Hopefully they're, going to be back and take a bigger role with their team. Again, offensive guys that we hope can make that difference where possibly there's an upset, in this first round.
So obviously, you guys, this is the first year for the UFAFL. I'm going to start off with you, Cass. Looking into the offseason, is there a spot on the roster? Is there the linebacker core, maybe your skill positions? Is there a spot you're going to be looking to improve in the offseason? And are you just thinking about the playoffs right now? You're not really thinking about afterwards.
No, you always kind of think about the upcoming season. We're pretty well-rounded defensively, but linebacker is definitely our weakest position. We have a couple guys coming back from injuries, so hopefully they make it back and they get back to their old selves there, and then possibly getting some depth at running back. We have like Pollard and Madison. They're not starters. I'm hoping maybe at least one of them becomes a starter next year. So there's that. And then, you always want to upgrade quarterback, defensive end. We don't have a kicker right now. So that's another position.
And Curtis, yeah, same thing. So obviously Jonathan Taylor was your guys' big move during the season. You gave up a lot of picks for that. Or you guys got some picks for that. So I'm just wondering the same thing I asked Cass. What are you guys looking to improve on in the offseason?
I think it's similar, just depth, right? You look at if you want to be a top team like Circa and Heatwave, those guys, they're just deep throughout the roster. And if you want to compete with the big boys, you got to fill yours out and get, more guys going. We lost Henry Ruggs, obviously that, he's a wide receiver. So it'd be nice to fill, that position. Getting some more offensive guys. I think our D as well is pretty strong. We'll see what Lawrence does, coming off his rookie season here, if he can, step it up. We knew he was going to be, inconsistent, his first year. Did we think he was going to be this, bad? Not really. But we have high hopes. He was a stud, and I still think he's a stud. So, again, I think wide receiver, you can always add to running backs, tight ends. So just kind of overall depth on the offensive side of the ball.
Curtis, I want to stick with you for a second because you bring up Henry Ruggs, and then you look at your roster there. Darren Waller pops out and Hunter Renfrow. You guys are very Raiders heavy. What was that like the plan going forward into the season, or is that just how kind of the draft fell in your lap and you just decided, hey, these are the best players at this specific time?
Yeah, Renfrew was a late pick, I think. I can't remember, but he wasn't, he's definitely one of the steals. And when we look back on our draft, I know Chad and I talked about that. He was, a guy we just took, and he's had an unreal, great year. Waller was kind of just trying to fill that hole when it comes to us losing Ruggs, right? Is what kind of fell on our lap, and somebody who can make a difference, getting us points. And I know, we do have a lot of Vegas guys, but it's just kind of how it just fell out with trade talks and trying to get the best value for, how much we were going to spend.
Okay. Well, boys, guys, one football question for you guys. Is there any team that you think can actually pull off the upset? Cass, we'll start with you.
The Raiders.
You think the Raiders can take the Bengals? Okay.
I think Carr is he's a determined man right now, and I think he could carry them. Bengals are good. I love Burrow. I think he's the next Aaron Rodgers. So it's going to be a good game. I look forward to that game, especially with all the players we have involved in it.
So Curtis, maybe this might be the wrong question to ask you since you might be biased towards the Raiders, but is there any other upset that you see happening on Wild Card Weekend?
Listen, I just faked my way through this entire interview. I don't know anything about football. All right. I'm a hockey guy. That's why I brought Chad on. I couldn't tell you who is even in the playoffs right now. So I don't know. I'm going to say the biggest upset's going to be the Gladiators beating the Empire in UFAFL football. That's what I'm going to say.
There you go. Cass, any response?
We'll see. Maybe. I think our defense is gonna rock there, so I think they're up tough against us.
All right, boys. Well, this was awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. Good luck to both of you this weekend. I think this is going to be a close one because, like you said, Cass, if that Bengals-Raiders game gets out of hand, you just never know in fantasy, right? And it's really tough it's always tough to project what defensive players are going to do in this league. So, yeah, good luck to both of you this weekend going forward. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll chat down the line.
Thanks
Awesome,
a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you once again to the boys for joining. That was a really fun interview. Thank you both, Curtis and Cass, for hopping on, and a little bit of barter at the end there. That was pretty funny. Curtis got me. I definitely thought he had some football knowledge, but yeah, he got me good with that one. Well, since he didn't have any football knowledge, maybe I can share some of my knowledge with you guys as we preview some of the NFL games this upcoming week. And the matchup that really strikes me first, I want to talk about the Patriots and the Bills. It's round 3. Both teams split this year, 1-1. So this one's going to be in Buffalo. And the question I have is, can the Pats really slow down Josh Allen? So the Patriots, okay, let's look at this. This is the first time they entered in the playoffs as a wild card team since 1998. So think about how many times they've been in the playoffs with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. This is the first time they're going in not as a division winner. That's crazy to me. So can the Patriots run the ball effectively like they did in that crazy game when they only threw the ball 3 times? Because you look at what the Bills, the defense has been good, but it's the pass defense for them that's been really good. They're number 1 in the league in pass defense. But they're allowing about 110 rushing yards a game this year. And we saw Damian Harris, running back for the Patriots, go over 100 yards twice against the Bills this season. So the key for the Patriots will be run the ball, keep Josh Allen and that offense off the field. Belichick wants to speed this game up as much as possible. And for the Bills on the offensive side of the ball, it's pretty easy. Get the ball out to the weapons. Josh Allen, he was really good against the Pats in that second matchup and Christmas weekend. He threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, J.C. Jackson, the corner for the Patriots, that's going to be a great matchup. However, Jalen Mills, the other corner, is in COVID protocols right now. They don't know if he's going to be playing in the game on Saturday. And then if Belichick, when I watched that last game, they only sent 4 rushers. So I'm thinking Belichick's going to have to blitz Josh Allen to make him get the ball out quicker, get his feet moving, make him make quicker decisions, speed up his brain. And that's when Josh Allen kind of gets erratic at times, and he tends to make a little bit more mistakes. He threw a little bit more interceptions this year than he did last year. So it's going to be a good game. I go back and forth on who I think is going to win it. I think the Patriots could pull off the upset if they're able to get the ground game going as much as they'd like to. But it's hard to count out Josh Allen and the Bills. They've been on a roll. They won a playoff game last year when Baltimore went over, so they're playoff tested. They had that crazy game against the Colts, actually, for that wild card weekend last year. So Mac Jones, the rookie, is he going to be able to keep up with Josh Allen if he has to get into a shootout? I don't think so. I think this is going to be a field goal game either way. Should be a fun one. Second game I want to look at, it's the Dallas Cowboys hosting the San Francisco 49ers. The big question for me is how will the 49ers run game fare against the Dallas defense? The run game is going to need to be effective because you don't want to put the game on the arm of Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not only dealing with injuries, but you don't want that Dallas defense to pin their ears back and rush the QB. Randy Gregory going against Trent Williams, the star left tackle, is going to be a fun battle to watch. And then obviously Micah Parsons, possibly the defensive rookie of the year, and Trayvon Diggs, corner, going against Deebo Samuel, possibly Brandon Ayuk. This is a fascinating game because I just want to see how the 49ers offense goes against that good Dallas defense. A guy like Deebo Samuel, a guy like George Kittle, short passes and let them go get yards after the catch. That's kind of what the Kyle Shanahan offense is based off of. Those two guys, get your best players the ball and let them run for yards. For the Cowboys offense, the receivers that's a big advantage going against a suspect 49ers secondary. I saw what A.J. Brown did to the 49ers just a couple Thursdays ago in his first game off of injury. So CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, those guys are going to be licking their chops. No Michael Gallup in this one, but you still got Ezekiel Elliott to worry about. You still got Tony Pollard out of the backfield. So this is going to be a really fascinating game. And if the 49ers can't get the run game going, it might be a big blowout for Dallas. I really like Dallas going forward in the NFC this season, but this is going to be a tough test for the boys. And then the third matchup, it's another matchup of division opponents who split the season series. It's the Rams hosting the Cardinals. It's the biggest game, probably Matthew Stafford's career. He's still looking for his first ever playoff win. And with the draft capital that LA gave up to get Stafford, the management's going to be looking hard at this game. Stafford was pretty good against the Cardinals this season, 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. But since their last matchup in Week 14, Stafford has thrown 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in 4 games. But for the Cardinals, they're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins, star wide receiver, for this matchup. So I'm curious to see how the offense game plans against that stout Rams defense. They're probably going to lean on James Conner, who was a workhorse for them this year, and he's had good success against the Rams this season. Chase Edmonds as well. He just came back from injury. Maybe he'll see more in the passing game because of Hopkins not being out there. So that should be a fascinating game. I think just the Rams are going to be too much for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are getting J.J. Watt back, so that'll be fun for them. That's going to be a little pick-me-up, a little boost for the boys on the sideline. But I think just the Rams might be too strong for the Cardinals, but I still think this might be a closer game than people think. So let's move over to the UFAFL preview. And there's a couple teams I'm really focused on. Before we made the graphics for this show, it was before the draft on Wednesday night, but I looked at the Gridiron Seals matchup, and I just thought that they were set up for success in the first round. And it's hard not to like their chances right now against the Blackhawks this week. So you're pairing Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. That's obviously been a great combo for them all season. But then you add Jamar Chase, you add T. Higgins, and we talked about that game earlier. That could be a high-scoring affair. And if Joe Burrow is going to find guys, it's probably going to be his best 2 weapons, and it's those guys. Plus CeeDee Lamb. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Chiefs are probably going to blow out the Steelers, so I see Edwards or CEH getting possibly some touchdowns this week. I don't think you're going to find a better group of skill players all around in the first round of the UFAFL playoff. With the 6th pick of the second round, the Paradise Blackhawks actually took Devontae Smith 2 picks ahead of T. Higgins. I thought that was a little bit suspect. I like Devontae Smith as a player, but I think if the Eagles are going to have success against the Bucs this weekend, it's going to be on the ground game. And Smith he's kind of off and on because of the fact that the Eagles just run a lot more than they pass. I thought that was kind of a weird pick. Like I said, the Bengals are going to carve up the Raiders. The Seals have been one of the most consistent teams all season, and I just expect that to continue this week. And then when I was looking at the Tiger Sharks, the 3 seed, I was like, okay, they're going to be good if the Titans actually get into the first round instead of getting the bye. So I think that they might be in trouble this weekend. So they're not going to have Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown this week. So now they're stuck with playing Mac Jones, who might be possibly the worst fantasy QB for this weekend. Might not be the worst QB. That might be Ben Roethlisberger. There was a good debate going on in the chat room this week. But Mac Jones going against the Bills, number 1 pass defense, I just don't like that matchup at all. They don't really have a great wide receiver group right now because DeAndre Hopkins isn't playing. They took Travis Kelce to help balance that out. He's obviously a stud, and I think he's going to be He's going to go run wild over the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. They're going to need Leonard Fournette to play this week. He's been off since week 15 with a hamstring issue, so you're not really sure how much they're going to lean on Fournette, especially if the Bucs get up early. They might try to rest him for the upcoming weeks. Kyler Murray, James Conner, Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, Nelson Aguilar, Gronk, and Zach Ertz for the Tiger Sharks. Obviously, the UFAFL is more about offense, but the Tiger Sharks have won 12 games in a row. If anyone is due for a loss, it might be these guys. And then the third matchup I wanted to look at closely, the Stormbreakers and the Silverbacks. This might be the matchup of the week. Two really close teams. The Silverbacks had more wins, but the Stormbreakers won the division and they had more points. On paper, I looked forward to this before the player draft. Both teams have been really good all year. Storm has the advantage at QB in this matchup with Jalen Hurts. Like I talked about with the Eagles, they're going to need to run the ball. Jalen Hurts has been very efficient as a runner this year. So I think that over Big Ben, that gives them the edge there. But then you look at the Silverbacks. They have the better running backs because you have Elijah Mitchell from the 49ers and possibly Ramondre Stevenson of the Pats. We talked about that. The Patriots are going to probably use Damian Harris and Stevenson a lot. Stevenson has had some COVID problems and some injury problems as well. So I'm not sure how much he's going to play, but I still think that the Silverbacks have the edge at running back. Devin Singletary. The Silverbacks also have George Kittle. I think that has a potential. He can obviously go off. So on paper, this looks like a close matchup. I do like some of the Silverbacks skill position players a little bit better, but I don't know. This is just a tough matchup overall. So I think both teams have had a great season. This is going to be a close one. It sucks that they have to play against each other in the first round, but good luck to you both this week. So now for my stock up and stock down this week. I did this before we did the player draft. Joe Burrow was actually my stock up for this week. I know he's getting a lot of talk on this episode, but he was QB8, guys, in UFAFL scoring. An incredible feat for him coming off that injury last year. He's got 11 touchdowns and no interceptions in his last 4 games. He's got a QB rating of 134 over that time because he's completing 76% of his passes. The Bengals crushed the Raiders in the first matchup this season, but that was a Joe Mixon game. Mixon actually carried the ball for 30 times, and he scored 2 touchdowns. Is it going to be the same formula this week? I don't really know, but with those weapons on the outside, I just really like Burrow. And then if you look ahead to Burrow, if they get by the Raiders, it's a potential matchup with the Titans secondary. And when you look at that potential matchup, the Titans are the number 2 rush defense in the league. So and they have a suspect secondary. It's a lot of young guys. Christian Fulton, first-year guy. So I just think that if Joe Burrow and those guys are able to advance and take on the Titans, I just think Burrow's got good matchups right now. So, and then even going forward, they're probably going to invest in a couple O-line pieces in the draft. So I just think Burrow, Cass called him, I think, the next Aaron Rodgers. Kind of like that comparison. I think Justin Herbert might be more that Aaron Rodgers type because he's got a little bit more strength in the arm. But Burrow is obviously a stud, and I'm really looking forward to watching this Bengals team in the playoffs. And then for my stock down, you look at the biggest discrepancy this week amongst the powerhouse teams, and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense going against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I don't like any of the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive players this week at all. And then this might be Ben Roethlisberger's last game. So who even knows about these offensive pieces going forward into next year? The Steelers were shut out in the first half of the Week 16 matchup against the Chiefs. It was an ugly game, really, really bad. And Roethlisberger has been kind of pedestrian over his last 4 games, just 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. The Chiefs, when you try to attack the Chiefs, they're actually more susceptible to the run. So they're going to have to lean on rookie stud running back Najee Harris if they have any chance of winning this game. Because the only way I see the Pittsburgh Steelers even carrying this game into the second half is by ball control, leaving Mahomes on the sideline. And then you look at Chris Jones, a star defensive tackle for the Chiefs, going against the Steelers' offensive line. That's a mismatch. The Steelers had the 26th ranked O-line thanks to PFF rankings. So I think the Chiefs are going to blow these guys away. So if you have any Steelers pieces, you might be able to get some garbage time receptions. I don't really know how many points they're going to score. Chris Boswell might be the best scoring option for the Steelers in this game. So because of that, stocked out is all on the Steelers offense. And then for my best bets this week, a little different setup because when you go online, there's no odds, there's no line for any of these games. And I'm mulling over these matchups this week, and I'm trying to pick out a potential upset. And the one that really caught my eye, I think the Resistance actually has a chance over the Legion this week. And when you look at the Resistance after the playoff draft, you look at some of their star players. So Derek Carr, like we said, that could be a shootout game, so I'd like that. Then you have Amari Cooper, the Cowboys going against the Niners. That could be good. Deontay Johnson. If anyone's going to catch the ball for Pittsburgh, it's likely going to be him. He's the possession guy. It's not. I could see him getting 10 catches for 70 yards. That's not out of the question. So I kind of like that. And you have Hunter Henry, who had a lot of touchdowns this year. Daniel Carlson, the kicker for the Raiders. He's been actually money for them this year. Then on the defensive side of the ball, Cam Hayward, Kyle Van Noy, and TJ Watt. There's some potential there right now for the Resistance. And we look for the Legion, Matthew Stafford. Like we said, this is the biggest game of his career. How are they going to attack the Cardinals? Is he going to air it out a lot? Obviously, you're going to try to find Cooper Kupp. But Sean McVay's been known to run the ball a lot in the past as well. And then you have Josh Jacobs. Mike Evans was their first-round pick in this draft. It was good pick for them because they lost a lot of skill players. But after the season ended, Van Jefferson, Nick Folk has been probably the best fantasy kicker this season. And then defensive end Trey Hendrickson for the Legion as well for the Bengals. He racked up a lot of sacks this year. He was their defensive MVP. But like I said, this is a close matchup. And if Derek Carr and they go off in that game, Hunter Henry scores a touchdown, I think there's a potential upset looming here. The Legion have been a really good, solid team all year. I didn't even think the Resistance were going to make the playoffs. They got in the last week of the season. I actually think they ended up on like a L3 or an L4 to end the year. But they still managed to get in. So there could be a potential upset. That'd be wild for me to see that. But good luck to both of these teams this weekend. And good luck to all of you guys right now in the playoffs. Should be really fun. As a Titans fan, I get to lie back and just watch it stress-free, no fantasy, no real skin in the game. And for next week's show, we're probably going to have to do it Thursday as well because we know there's another playoff draft happening next week. So thanks again to Curtis and Cass for hopping on the show. And guys, don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at MichaelSKRZ. You can follow the league's Twitter account at the UFAFL. And then the scouting department headed by Jamie Thomas at UFAFL_scouting. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@uffsports.com. And then the website is at the bottom of the screen there for any other information that you'd be curious on. And don't forget, guys, to check out the store. Once again, you got the website there at the bottom of the screen. Thank you, Darren Bates, for sending over the hoodie. This is very comfortable. I love this thing, especially right now in the frigid temperatures. It's helping me out greatly. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Thank you, Dean, behind the scenes on the ones and twos. Appreciate everything this week. And guys, Thursday, another episode, hopefully, because we're going to have another player draft. So exciting times this week. As a Titans fan, no skin in the game. I get to watch stress-free football. I cannot wait for this weekend. Good luck to everybody involved in the playoffs, and we will catch you guys next week.